And we are back. What's going on, everybody? UCF Jaguar here, and we are coming with a special video for you today. I don't know if you guys noticed this person right next to me, but he is Jet Central. He basically does the same thing I do, except he does with the Jets, and he goes a little more around the NFL as well. So, what's going on, man?
Not too much, bro. Chilling. Ready to talk about some football.
Hell yeah. But today we're going to be basically doing two videos. On my channel, we are going to be doing NFL award predictions, where we basically project who we think will be the MVP, like offensive, defensive, rookies of the year type stuff. And on his channel, we're going to be predicting the playoffs, going through predicting division winners, predicting wild cards, and then who's going to be the Super Bowl winners. So, with that said, enjoy. Alright, and we're going to start off and basically talk about the MVP position. So, I'm going to let Jet Central go ahead and take it from
first
here.
up, I mean, I know it sounds kind of cliche, but I got Aaron Rodgers winning MVP. You know, addition of Martellus Bennett. I mean, he put up a fantastic season last year. Everyone knows it. I mean, honestly, Rodgers is probably the best quarterback in the league. I think so.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, he can move. Obviously, he has a cannon arm. He can wait around the pocket and stuff. I mean, the guy does it all. I got Rodgers winning MVP. What about you?
I wanted to say Tom Brady so bad just because their team is so stacked, but I gotta go Derek Carr just because I feel like what they did and brought in Marshawn Lynch and just being able to have back Crabtree, being able to have Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's going to be really good for him, and if he can like do a little better at the deep ball, kind of throw some more deep balls, get a little bit more explosive plays in there, I think it would be hard to, you know, argue Derek Carr not getting that MVP award.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's a beast, and he has tons of weapons, so I could easily see him winning it, too.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, like, I feel like just with a young guy, if he kind of ties with Tom Brady, I think they're going to want to give Derek Carr that award.
Exactly.
But, all right, next up, Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Offensive Rookie.
Yeah.
Kind of controversial, I know it, but based strictly off the field, I got it going Joe Mixon. I think a lot of Bengals fans are going to be pumped on, you know, his skill set. He could catch the ball, he could run the ball, he could return the ball. I mean, the guy, I mean, granted his off the field stuff is like horrible and whatnot, but on the field the guy's like great. So I think the Bengals are going to like, you know, what they got, their second round pick in Mixon.
Yeah. I mean, with this one, it's really complicated because, like, in a draft that I thought it was going to be a lot of defensive players going off first, like 8 out of the first 12 picks were skilled players between quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers. So there's really going to be a big competition there. But, I mean, I'm going to have to go with my guy Leonard Fournette just because he's going to be given all the opportunity. He's going to be the new identity of the Jaguars offense after, you know, they've been really having trouble finding themselves. And, you know, I think, like, pretty much his expectations are hopefully to get, you know, 1,200 yards on the ground, be able to maybe tack on about 10 rushing touchdowns. And I think he can also be a pretty big threat in the, you know, passing game, because if you give this guy some space, he can really pull through some people.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Fournette's the better back, you know, in this situation. But I think, you know, offensive rookie being just a numbers award, I think with Mixon being able to help out in the passing game, running game, and special teams, that's why I got, you know, him winning it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where that one goes.
Yeah.
And then Defensive Rookie of the Year. I guess I'll start with this one since you've been starting.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm going to say Derek Barnett. Now, I really liked Derek Barnett coming out of the draft. I mean, he was a beast at Tennessee. I thought he was the best pure defensive end, I mean, besides Myles Garrett, of course, but just the way this guy gets to bend, you know, I think adding him to what's a great Eagles defensive line with, like, you know, flexor cots and stuff like that, I think he'll be able to really get some good matchups, and I think he's going to be able to put up a lot of sacks this year. I mean, if the Jaguars were going to get Leonard Fournette, I actually had him as more of my sleeper pick.
At 4?
Yeah, at 4.
Yeah, he definitely, I think he broke the sack record at Tennessee.
Yeah, he was a franchise sack record over there, so it's pretty crazy.
So I wanted to go with Jamal Adams so bad, you know, being I'm a Jet fan and whatnot. But again, you know, being a statistic award, I got Marcus Williams getting the defensive rookie, second round pick out of Utah by the New Orleans Saints. You know, look at that division. Matt Ryan throws the ball all over the place. Cam Newton, You know, he's going to be throwing the ball. And then the Bucks, Jameis. I mean,
Yeah.
I really think this guy can really rack up like maybe 6 to 7 picks as a rookie. They just released Jarius Byrd, so I mean he's going to be thrown into the starting role for sure.
Yeah.
So I mean I really see him getting like 6 to 7 picks.
Yeah, I mean NFC South has a lot of good quarterbacks.
Yeah,
They really like to throw the ball out there. But next up, I would guess we'll go Offensive Player of the Year. I have Ezekiel Elliott winning this.
Okay.
Man, I think Elliott. I mean, I had him on my fantasy team last year, so I mean he was a freaking beast. I love watching him play, and he is just such a complete back with the way he can run the ball. You know, he can get the ball in space and do some good things. He's a very good pass blocker, and you know, just being with the Dallas offensive line, being with that Dallas offense, you know, like their defense, Dallas's defense has some questions, but there's no doubt that their offense has some good firepower.
Yeah, dude, the offensive line is fantastic for Dallas, but
Yeah.
Offensive Player of the Year, I got Jameis Winston. You know, fantastic quarterback as it is. You brought in O.J. Howard, you know, security blanket. Deshaun Jackson, speedster, wide receiver. Already got Mike Evans. I mean, the Bucks running game isn't kind of all where it needs to be with Doug Martin and whatnot, but I think Jameis Winston is going to be throwing the ball all around the yard. And, you know, I could easily see him putting up like 4,300 yards easy. So, especially, again, with the division that they play in, they're going to have to try to outscore teams and whatnot. So I got Jameis Winston winning Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, I'm excited. The Jaguars are actually having joint practices with the Buccaneers. So
I'll
be going over to Jacksonville and watching that for 2 days. I saw it last year, and you know, it was a really fun time.
Yeah, sick.
But all right, let's go to Defensive Player of the Year. Now, I have Vic Beasley out of Atlanta winning this award. I mean, he was a player. Pass rushers generally do best from between year 1 to year 2, like their second year, once they were able to refine kind of their pass rushing techniques, they would do the best. And you know, he was originally looked at as a bust of only having 4 sacks his rookie year, but then last year he led the NFL with 15.5 sacks. And
yeah, he came on the scene like it was crazy.
And then just like you said with what we've been talking about with the NFC South, like in the air it out, like I think he'll have plenty of opportunity. I think the Falcons have a great defense there. Secondary is able to get the quarterback to hold the ball for half a second longer. And, yeah, I mean, I think Vic Beasley could be the next, Von Miller type pass rusher.
Yeah, it's crazy how good he got, like, real fast, too. I got Luke Kuechly winning it. Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, stout guy, solid, too. I mean, last year he battled through some injuries, concussions, and whatnot. But I really think – I like the Carolina Panthers team overall. But I think Kuechly is just going to rack up tons of tackles. Obviously, he's really great at covering tight ends, covering wide receivers and running backs and whatnot. But I got Kuechly winning it. The guy can really do it all.
Yeah.
I wanted to pick Khalil Mack, but it was too cliche, so I went with Kuechly.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, it would have been so easy to pick Khalil Mack, but I don't want to pick a guy that's gonna, that did it last year. So
exactly.
I kind of want to go. Let me kind of say that, but the NFC South's definitely getting some love today.
Yep.
But all right, comeback player of the year. Who do you got winning that?
I got quarterback Jared Goff winning for the Rams. Yeah,
really?
I know. I know.
Man.
I think McVay coming in, I think it's going to help. I think, they didn't really do much with bringing in free agents and whatnot. But they did draft well. I like their tight end that they brought in. I like Cooper Kupp. They brought him in. And that whole new offense, I really think it's a good fit for Jared Goff. And on top of that, the word around the NFL with NFL teams and whatnot is that supposedly Sean McVay is one of the brightest minds in the NFL. So, I mean, if he can pair him up with Jared Goff, who is talented, obviously you have a great defense with Aaron Donald and those guys, and you have a really good running game with Gurley. So, really, it's just a couple tweaks here and there. And, historically, Jeff Fisher's never really been able to produce or develop a quarterback. So, I'm looking at Jared Goff working with a young offensive-minded head coach, potentially matching his talent with production. So that's kind of my opinion on it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Jared Goff and the Rams is they have really zero expectations.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, I'm not personally a guy that really likes Jared Goff too much, but, if you look at them, they have a pretty decent running back over there, and, they have a chance to maybe surprise some people, but, I still think their offensive line is a little suspect, but...
For sure. But,
we'll see. I mean, he was the number 1 overall pick, so... there's definitely, I know the Rams are having a lot bigger expectations out of what they got out of him last year.
Mm-hmm.
But me personally, my comeback player of the year is going to be Keenan Allen. Now, of course he got injured early on in the year. I think he played 1 or 2 games, but Chargers are a team that I kind of like this year. I mean, I thought their draft was great. They were able to get incredible value in 2 different guards with Forrest Lamp in the second round and Dan Feeney in the third round. I mean, both those guys were guys I really wanted the Jaguars to target, but, incredible value getting them. Phillip Rivers, he's going, he's entering his, going into his final NFL, year, so I really think that they want to get him to win, hopefully get him to the playoffs. Joey Bosa last year was a great addition. I think their defense is pretty well, and I think Keenan Allen, it'll just really open up for him, especially if Mike Williams is able to come back. Now I heard he's right now like on the injury list, and I don't know how long he's going to be injured for, but I really think that Keenan Allen has a good chance of winning this award, especially at a skill position like wide receiver.
Yeah, the Chargers have tons of weapons with like Travis Benjamin and whatnot too, so they're going to be passing it around for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And then Coach of the Year. Now, I have Buccaneers head coach Dirk Cutter winning this award.
Okay, nice.
Because, I think that the Bucs are going to be a great team this year. And, typically when they get these teams in the playoffs, usually those new type of coaches, like Dirk Cutter, I think that they can go 11-5, maybe even 12-4 this year. But, they may not make the, win the division just because they have the Falcons in there. It's a very tough NFC South this year. But, I think Dirk Cutter has a good chance to win that Coach of the Year award.
Yeah, I'm going with another young coach, Doug Peterson from Philly. I really like what he was able to put together with the Philadelphia Eagles. They attacked their weaknesses with they were horrible at the wide receiver position. Got Torrey Smith and Alshon Jeffrey, so 2 major upgrades. Like you said, Derek Barnett, got him in the building. Carson Wentz, another year in the system. I really like what the Philadelphia Eagles are doing. Granted, they do play in a really tough division with the Giants and the Skins and the Cowboys, but overall, I really like what Peterson can do. I feel like this team has a ton of potential, so that's kind of my outlook on it.
Yeah, and next up we're going to go to the surprise team, and I'm going to stick with the Eagles, and Eagles are my surprise team because, like we said, they got an incredible defensive line. Their offense is really poised to succeed, I think. They have a great, I'm a firm believer that you have to have strong trenches in order to win, and they're strong on the defensive line and offensive line. I really like Carson Wentz. He went out to California and spent some time with some mechanic coaches out there because he started, I guess, degressing a little bit in that route. And, just adding LeGarrette Blount, adding Alshon Jeffrey, who he signed a 1-year kind of prove-it type of deal. So he's a player that when he was on the Bears, didn't necessarily give all his effort all the time, was, always dealing with kind of injuries. But I think he's going to be a motivated player this year. And I think that Eagles offense and, even their secondary is a little shaky, but I think this team could, do some really good things this year.
Yeah, I definitely agree with a lot of the stuff you said. My surprise team is the Carolina Panthers. Now, they definitely had a falling out last year, right, with just injuries and overall just not that good of a team. They kind of overexceeded when they went to the Super Bowl. I know that kind of sounds weird because they made it to the Super Bowl.
Loss. That was nuts.
I know, but they had a kind of, I don't want to say easy schedule, but they had they didn't really play the toughest teams.
They played the AFC South that year. That was a bad division.
Yeah,
obviously I know.
But no, and so 2016 rolled around and they kind of, maybe it was that Super Bowl hangover. I'm not really too sure, but I'm really looking at 2017, Cam Newton to bounce back. I still think he's a tremendous quarterback that really, I feel like if he could put it all together and really just grind day in, day out and really just try to, zone in and really just kind of lock in with that quarterback mentality and just passing the ball around, I really think the Carolina Panthers can be back in the playoffs. So, I know it kind of sounds weird because what did they win, 7 games last year?
I think they went 5-11, if I'm not mistaken. They didn't get that many.
Oh, okay, yeah, even worse. But
between 5 and 7 wins, somewhere around there. But yeah, they definitely grossly underachieved last year after they found a way to win, go 15-1, and then they had a bunch of critics about how good were they when they did that, and they go on to the Super Bowl. So it was a really weird team, but
yeah, I think the loss of Norman really hurt them. Mentality-wise too.
Yeah, because it was really weird timing with that loss because it came like a few months, like a month or two after free agency or whatever. So
it was weird for sure. But I like McCaffrey too. I think he's going to play a big piece in what the Panthers are going to be able to do, offensively on the side of the ball. But I also think he could kind of help out special teams too, like punt returns and stuff. So
yeah.
I really think Carolina's a team to watch out for.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to keep our eyes on that. But disappointing team. I started off the last one, so I'll let you go.
Okay, disappointing team, right? I got the Dallas Cowboys. They're gonna be playing a tough schedule. Second-year quarterback Dak Prescott. They say they didn't really open up the playbook to him too much. You kind of see it with defensive coordinators once they kind of get a hold or get some footage on a rookie quarterback, they can kind of plan around them. They lost a couple players on defense due to suspension and whatnot. Actually, just lost Lucky Whitehead, picked up by the Jets. Pretty pumped up about that. But the Giants got better. I think the Redskins got better, even though they're having that dispute with Kirk Cousins and whatnot.
Yeah,
he's still going to be there this year. They picked up Terrell Pryor.
Kirk or Kurt?
Kirk. But Jonathan Allen fell to them in the draft.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a huge pickup. And then the Eagles obviously got better too. So, the three teams in their division all got substantially better. I'm looking at the Cowboys to be disappointing. Now, I'm not saying they're going to be horrible.
Yeah.
Maybe just 8-8 or something. So. Yeah.
See, I got a lot of people are going to be hating on me for this, but not necessarily Jaguar fans. But I had the Titans taking a step down. Now, they went 9-7 last year, and kind of overachieved in that way. But they won a lot of games that they weren't really expected to win. I think they caught a lot of teams off guard. And they went 2-4 in the AFC South, including a loss against 2-12 Jaguars when they could have won that and basically gotten to the playoffs. And I don't think their head coaching is good. I think their offense can be great. I don't think their head coaching is great. I don't think Mike Mularkey's kind of a rally, kind of take you deep into playoffs kind of person. And I don't think they did enough in the secondary. The secondary of the team scares me. I don't think they did enough to improve that, that position. But if you look around the league, everybody's penciling them in to have a winning record. And I'm not going to say they're sitting here going to go 4-12 or anything, but I could very easily only see them going about 7-9. But
yeah, the release of the corner who has the brother on the Patriots.
Yeah, McCourty.
That kind of shocked me because he's still weird. Good, but I don't know.
And it was weird because they were so weak at that position, and they just tried to go after AJ Boye, and then it was just a really weird cut. But I know they got Logan Ryan from.
Oh yeah, good point.
They signed him over, but they signed Jonathan Cyprien to the team, who was a former Jaguar, and he's great at run defense, but he's not going to help him out in the passing game. He was a coverage liability, and I just don't see. I don't see them taking that big 12-4 step, like all these people were projecting. But yeah, if you want to add something.
Oh yeah, all I was gonna say is they did have some notable wins like over Green Bay. Like I actually picked the Packers to win that game and they just blew them out. It was crazy. So I mean, I could definitely see them being disappointed because they have all the hype.
But I remember that game. It just seemed like for a lot of they were sneaky winning a bunch of games, like playing NFC opponents, and I think that they were a team that didn't start off very good. I think they started off like 1-3 or something. Like they weren't, they did not start off very good. And I think after that they kind of got teams overlooked them a little bit. But
yeah, they kind of remind me of Dallas on like how they play with like strong O-line play, run the ball, and like just manage the game from the quarterback position. So just don't turn the ball over.
Yeah. But all right, guys, that's gonna be the end of this video. I'm gonna put down in the description, basically, MVP. I'm gonna put basically a template for you guys if you guys want to copy paste and post in the comments and let me know what your guys' projections are. And then we can maybe visit this in about a year, or actually once the awards come out. But we're about to film our NFL playoff predictions, so that's going to be on his channel. So definitely, I'll put his link down below. Go check out Jet Central. Go subscribe to him. Go check out the video. And thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot for coming down. Appreciate it.
All right, peace.
Later.